Well, we've done this tradition now for maybe 7 years, and a lot of fathers are unfortunately alienated from their children, and especially around the holidays it can be very difficult to go through Christmas on your own without your children, without your family. And so the tradition began that we would gather here at this beautiful establishment, the Old Mill, for a wonderful dinner. The food is amazing, the atmosphere and the company is just as good. And it's a nice way for men to be connected, during what can be a very difficult time.
And so, what role do sponsors and donors have in keeping the organization afloat and thriving?
Well, tonight's a good example of that. So we have two very generous sponsors. They're also donors to the organization in their own right, Ray Van Eno and Barry Ivanovich, who have been extremely generous. They're the reason we have this event every year. They've been sponsoring it for as long as it's existed. But beyond that, it's because of donors, people who give anywhere from $10 a month to sometimes six-figure donations that allow our programs to operate free of charge. All the therapy programs, support groups, legal clinics, father involvement groups, domestic abuse recovery programs, and the shelter that we run. So we're pretty busy. All of these things are made possible by that group of donors. So yeah, we couldn't transform the lives of thousands of families every year without that kind of support.
So we'll just wait for this gentleman to walk by. So tell me about the challenges this year and coming forward as we move through a very politicized time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of forces that are moving against equality, essentially. An opportunity for men to also get resources.
Yeah.
And they're trying to shut things down.
We're no stranger to opposition. From the moment we opened our doors, literally, the first Center for Men and Families in Toronto in 2014, there were hit pieces in the mainstream media. There were actual organized efforts to try to shut us down as soon as we opened this life-transforming space, the Center for Men and Families. And it's never really abated. It's kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit. Yeah, so we do have some newly organized opposition. I think the reason we're seeing that this year is that the organization has really come of age, and in particular with the recent opening of the first shelter for abused fathers and children. There are forces out there who are kind of concerned that we may be onto something, that we may be slowly changing the whole conversation around gender and equality and victimization, and quite frankly, they don't want to see things change. They like the status quo. It works for them. It just doesn't work for tens of thousands of families who so far have been going without essential services. And that's what we're in the business of, is closing gaps in programs for boys, men, fathers and their families, and doing it in a very equal kind of way, involving men and women at every level of the organization.
So what else would you like to say about the organization and that you think that everyone else needs to hear?
Well, I think we need to start looking at gender differently at a very profound level. I think we need to start looking at issues, be they mental health and suicide prevention, family separation, domestic violence, to name a few very kind of provocative social problems, from a gender equal point of view. Not a position where we take, one gender as being victims and the other perpetrators, one gender as being all good and the other as being all bad. One gender as being the cause of all problems and the other one is the ones having the problems. We need to look at this in a much more sophisticated way. People are individuals, they're capable of good and bad, each of us, and we need to work together collaboratively to solve these intractable social problems. That is the only way to really find some creative solutions to these very difficult issues.
And tell me about the volunteers who put time in to keep the organization going, because it's largely a volunteer-run organization.
It still is.
From the board to the team that makes things happen, delivers services.
Yeah, at every level of the organization, it's very grassroots. Probably a ratio of volunteers to staff, we may be skewed more extreme towards volunteers than most organizations, so it's really the underpinning of the organization's effectiveness is harnessing thousands of volunteers. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity for just about everybody, whether you're interested in facilitating support groups, doing administrative work to make the programs run behind the scenes, helping with fundraising and social media and marketing. There's something for just about everybody, and we're always happy to welcome more volunteers to our team.
Great. So are there any other calls to action?
No, I think that's a good way to.
That was a good one.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Okay, that was easy.
Great. So how did you discover the center, and why did you feel that you had to be a contributor?
So this actually came from an experience. I was going through a divorce, and like most men, they suffer from crisis. There's a little bit of depression thing with the separation, the whole court system, things like that. And through mutual groups, I actually found out through that the Center for Men with Families existed. And from there, I thought it was a great idea because not only do they provide aid to men that are in crisis, but they have other services like legal services. There's also peer support groups and things like that can contribute to other factors, right? So, it was kind of through a social experience of how I found that existed, and then I felt that it in society. In my personal experience, it seems that men, when they suffer with crisis or if they have struggles, there's very little resources for them to have. Just doing my own little research after and things like that, and like I said, I was fortunate enough that I didn't have to use their services, but I think it's wonderful because that other men can have these services that need them, and by contributing it means that they can continue going.
Great. And so why did you feel you needed to donate money?
Well, unfortunately, like everything in this world, without any donations, things can't progress, right? So if you don't volunteer, if you don't donate, I do have a busy schedule at work, so I don't volunteer as much as I used to when I was younger, because obviously, the current financial situation here is, groceries are expensive, everything is expensive, right? So the handouts that I can contribute, I know it's monetary, but it's necessary.
So was there a moment where you decided, I believe in this place, I'm going to commit?
Well, there was a moment, and I joined a couple of the peer support groups just out of curiosity, just the online. And I found out that, just listening to other stories, because I didn't have such a struggle. I know that there's people with addictions, there's people with domestic issues and things like that, and it opens your eyes more to see that, I don't know the proper way to explain this, but through my experience, it's great to see other men and others supporting men that are going through crisis, because we don't talk about it, if that makes sense. I find that even when I was going through my divorce and things like that, I didn't speak with any of my friends or any of my guy friends, and I thought it was, it's kind of awkward if you brought up the conversation, but I realized at how common it was and how everybody's affected by it. It's not just the people going through a divorce or something like that. It's their children, it's their families, it's the conflicts that arise between, having different families and arise. So, I think it's bringing a lot of men together and a lot of awareness to men.
Great. I think that's good. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add?
There is a few things that I would like to add, right? Like I said, through my experiences and stuff like that, it's great to see other men, and I think we have to be more vocal and aware. And I think what I mean by vocal, I'm not saying that we have to do anything radical, but I think the more we talk about it, the more it'll be accepted in society, and the more that it'll be more of an outreach, and it'll be almost like all the other services that we have, right? So, when we think of mental health, we always go, okay, there's mental health crises, and there's centers for that and stuff like that, but they're general, and it's great to be specific to males, right? Because I find that when it comes to services, even if you look at, there's a lot for children when it comes to therapy, but for men, I find that it's almost like a niche market there, or it's almost a niche group. So it'd be nice that if we can talk about it and spread it and make it part of conversation, so that it's not something that sticks out. I find that the Center Men for Families sticks out more than, let's say, a woman's center, right? it's almost like when you mention it to people, they're like, that exists, and you're like, yes, it does. So I think it just needs to be part of more of our daily conversations, more of a part of our lives, more acceptance, and then I think it'll grow into something that's going to be so adaptive that hopefully in the future we don't have these crises anymore. We can develop, let's say, a justice system or a type of social system that can, make everything easy for everybody.
Great. Thank you, Jason.
No problem. Thank you.
My name is Miguel, Miguel, and I am connected to the Center for Families and Men and Families for a long time. Today is a wonderful day where we are celebrating a dinner as a family with many families helped by the center through the years, and it's a glorious moment to celebrate with the families. I was in a dark place in my life. Right now, it seems that time has gone off, and now in the process of better myself, better my kids. I'm connected to my children more than I used to be before. The center came and gave me the voice and also an ear to listen to me when I was struggling with family core. It was difficult times for me and many other men. I stayed strong. I used the good tools, the advice that I received, helped me to go through how to recover my kids through the family course, getting a lawyer. I appreciate a lot the work that Justin and the center does for men and families. I am so grateful that you guys have now a new location in North York where kids and men can go and stay there. And it was a systemic change that needed to happen, that men have rights and they need to be in connection with their children. I believe that the center does good job for our men and families in the city of Toronto, and it's so important.
How has the center helped you?
Well, we used to have classes every Tuesday night at your old location on College Street in downtown Toronto. I used to attend a group where other men will share their experiences and their sadness and the frustrations with their family core, not able to see their kids. So, learning coping mechanisms, learning, getting advice from other people that have been there before. And they tell you, it's a transition, you have to be, strong, firm, and believing that one day, this storm in your life will come and it will be gone. And now that's what I am right now. That's what I'm wearing my hat, because I'm happy that today I'm celebrating Christmas in a very positive way. The days are gone, there's the sadness. So this is the most better place I have ever been since the year 2013 when I lost my kids to family court. So in 2023, it's 10 years later, I feel much better, in a better place. My kids are more connected to me, and I appreciate so much this opportunity of having a meal together. And I thank the donor for providing this celebration year after year.
Perfect. So tell me about this dark place that you were at and how you found the center and how the center and its services helped you.
So one way that the Canadian Centre of Men and Families Services has helped me was back around maybe 15 years ago when I was really profoundly schizophrenic and really unwell. I was able to access their therapy services, and it just took one session, but it gave me enough strength and inner peace to continue on and continue my recovery journey. And if it wasn't for that therapy that I needed at that point in my life, in that time of my life, it would have been probably not looking too good. It would have been probably downhill from there. So I just wanted to thank them because I really needed to talk to somebody, and they were there for me at that point. And it really made a profound change in my recovery journey.
So tonight we're at this Christmas event. What does it mean for you to be at an event like this on a regular basis?
It's wonderful that they host these events for men and families because I've been attending for roughly 5 years now, and it gives me some place that I can go for Christmas, and it gives me some place that I can go for the holidays.
Why is that important?
It's important to me because a lot of men, a lot of families are feeling isolated, are feeling lonely. They have no connections, they have very little supports, and a Christmas dinner like this serves to enable and empower men and give them a little sense of dignity and even some hope, perhaps, which, is something that most men don't experience at all.
What about you? What are your hopes for your future?
My hopes for my future, I just want to have a nice place where I can retire in the next 15 years, and hopefully I'm content. I'm a happy guy. So I just want to continue going on a path of health and happiness and recovery, and continue until my last days.
Wonderful. Thank you.
In my opinion, the center is great because it's one of a kind. I haven't seen other programs that address men's issues in the same way. And they are always trying to evolve and hear our concerns and the type of help that we need. And I see potential for growth and for improvement.
So how has the center helped you specifically with your problem?
Specifically with my own problems, the center had helped me by being able to speak to a counselor, and I was able to share information about a legal case that I was dealing with in the past, and I was able to also gain some assistance with gaining more knowledge about current problems that I'm dealing with, and attending lectures and meetings where they provide education, and they also offer referrals to different places for men who are suffering in different ways. Personally, I believe the center is a place to go when I believe I am being treated differently, or if I've been discriminated in the past, or if my needs are not met, such as housing-related needs, and also if my employment or career goals are not being met, and if I have a vision for my own future that is not addressed, I believe that this is a place to go to seek help. If the center has not been there for me, what would have happened is I would have felt that we are victims of our own culture as men, that our own suffering is not necessarily important, and I would not be happy with this tradition that we're often sold. And the only way to improve our culture is to help us and to respect that our problems are real. And that's what the center is trying to do.